Joseph Crew here. Welcome to the Joseph Crew Show. Today is Wednesday, August the 25th, 2021. We have been seeing more than stuff going on here. What's happening here today. And we're here to talk about everything. We want to talk about the cases that are going down. We also know that thousands of Americans at Afghanistan have been evacuated. Thousands of Americans have been evacuated in Afghanistan, have been evacuated. They have been rescued, and then good for Joe Biden. But hey, it will all get better soon, hopefully. And there's still stuff happening here. So we just pray for the people that they can get out of Afghanistan safe. Because it's getting bad out there at Afghanistan. Because the Taliban and our thoughts, prayers go out. But prayers go out to winning the Afghanistan people and the U.S. all around the world. So anyway, so now we're here to talk about the pandemic once again, and then this and that, and the CDC and scientists that going on here in the United States. Now we have just know this. I mean, and I'm not sure and what is happening here, and this is. Ooh, man, this is that we don't want to talk about. Now, Dr. Santos agrees with, Dr. Fauci agrees with dissenters on COVID antibody treatments. What the AP sending him to? Oh my gosh. Now you have to hear this, folks. You have got to hear this. Now, it looks like Dr. Anthony Fauci touched a lab-made antibody treatment this week as an effective therapy for the coronavirus, saying it could reduce the risk of hospitalization and deaths by up to 85%. Lose right away. Someone should tell the Associated Press, which last week published a report describing positive moderates to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis for speaking favorably of marketing antibody treatments. Apparently, the CEO of the third-party Hers Fund, who donated to DeSantis' campaign well before the coronavirus pandemic ever began, also investments in a company that produces one antibody treatments DeSantis has celebrated. Now, the escalation in AP's price was that said DeSantis was only personal relegation to benefit one of his donors, not because it was or says lies. Now, if that sounds far-fetched, it's because it is. There's plenty of medical evidence supporting the news of relegation, which both DeSantis and Fauci had credited at light. Fauci, especially, has been encouraging medical professionals to consider using interim treatments in coronavirus cases since at least March. So it's plausible that DeSantis took Fauci's advice and decided to roll out interim treatment centers statewide. Of course it is, but the AP, which like most mainstream mail outlets, is determined that the decision DeSantis, no matter what he says, cannot be counted on to the cover the issue forward. That might involve meaning that DeSantis is or has been right. Right about radiation, about lockdowns, about mask mandates, about in-person schoolings, all of it. There's something our parent, antenna, and Democrat bases cannot afford to do. Now, What is one dissenters thinking? No, get rid of those mass mandates and no vaccines, ban mass mandates and ban the vaccines, and something that ain't right about this and all this kind of mess. He's letting these kids get sick and die. In Florida, where they had a lot of people get sick and die. They had and sometimes they had a lot of people wearing their masks at schools when they wearing their masks, and they do. And that's happening. That's happening here, folks. The cases are getting rise up, and this is what happens when you're gonna say, "Hey, this is just about as bad as it gets." And just like that, this is what happens. So this is what's happening, folks, and that's just, they just did not know what's going on and how it's happening. This because there's the coronavirus thing stuff that drives everybody crazy. People didn't want that to happen. This is what happens. Why? Now, things are not happening so far. They need to get to this meanwhile. It is what it is. Now, what happened was, it just makes people sick, and then they have to wear. We know people don't want people to wear masks, and they say, "I can't breathe." They don't want to wear them. They don't want to wear the mask in the ground. They can do everything they want to, and that's what happens, and that sucks. So here we are in this world today, and people going mad. They behave badly. They behave a lot. We don't want our masks. No more masks. No more masks. No more masks. That's what happened in Tennessee. That's what happened in Alabama. That's what happened in Florida. Everybody, they say freedom. Freedom. They say it's real. So why we have to say freedom instead of saying freedom? Then why can't we all just shut up? Shut up. Do what we have to do. And that's what happened. Because people, we tired of sticking their mouth. That's just for sure, and that's what happened. And it's going to happen anyway. Now, let's go to the Texas governor bans. Texas governor. It says the Texas governor bans local governments from issuing COVID-19 vaccine mandates despite FDA approval. Now, look at this. Governmental intolerance in Texas can no longer mandate any coronavirus vaccination despite Pfizer receiving full FDA authorizations early this week. According to new executive order signed by Governor Gray Abbott on Wednesday, the new executive order goes further in the previous one did, with banning coronavirus vaccines mandates that were only organized under emergency use. The order also applies to businesses that partners with the state but does not extend to private businesses, nursing homes, state-supported living centers, and long-term care factories. Vaccine requirements and explanation have historically been determined by the legislators, and their involvement is particularly improved to avoid a patchwork of vaccine mandates across Texas, Abbott said in the news release. Abbott suspended multiple sections of the state health code to enforce his mandate. The executive order will likely expand senators as the COVID-19 vaccine mandates issued early this month. In a statement, district officials said They will move forward with the mandate regardless. About Abbott also adding the vaccine mandate issued in a special session, being the Texas legislature can consider and pass legislation pertaining to COVID-19 vaccination requirements. The director may invite laws legal challenges like his previous executive order, with banning local governments from requiring masks in public schools. Batson County successfully sought an injustice to court, preventing enforcement of that order, and allowed the country to mandate masks in schools. So this is what happens, and that's what was people just said. That's what people want. That's what I'm talking about here. So what has happened so far, and this is what it is. Now, on vaccinated review we had in North Carolina, thus is given 10.3 million and 4.79 million have been fully vaccinated. That means 45.7% of population fully vaccination. In the United States, we had dozens given 364 million plus 648,000, and fully vaccinated has 171 million, and that's plus 279,000. And then we have the plus 0.1, and it's 52.2% of popular fully vaccinated. So it's getting low. The vaccines are getting low. And you know why it is what it is. Now take a look at this. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has given full approval to Pfizer's coronavirus vaccines for people aged 16 and older. Approval for longer ages 12 to 15 is set to follow soon. I don't think it will be long before they're extending it to 12 to 15, maybe if within...
Does anyone on board know how to fly an airplane?
I got this. I have sling...
maybe within a few weeks to a month or so, says Dr. Fredis, director of the Vaccine Resource Center in Cincinnati Children's Hospital. Now, parents are already claimable to hear more about approval of the legislation for children under 12. However, studies looking at that are underway. It appears that kids can get a much smaller dose for a vaccine than adults and still get the same hormonal response, Fred told CNN. And we're gonna stop right there. So now it's up to us. Now, kids are under 12 may get a vaccine. So here we go. And the thing is, it just come that way, folks. It's just come that way for sure. So we're gonna wait and see what happens. Gotta see what happens though. Okay. Okay, we got. Look for us. No, I just don't. No, I just don't care for this time for right now. It is what it is. So I had no problem to those vaccines. Now, Dr. Fauci corrects prediction of when U.S. may have control over COVID-19. Now, it says Dr. Anthony Fauci corrects his early prediction of MRI, telling CNN Anderson Cooper that if a majority of Americans get vaccinated, the U.S. can have control over COVID-19 by the spring of 2022. It says Dr. Anthony Fauci
Does anyone on board know how to fly an airplane?
corrects. Now, Dr. Anthony Fauci corrects his early prediction on NPR, telling CNN's Anderson Cooper that if a majority of Americans get vaccinated, the U.S. could have control over COVID-19 by the spring of 2022. And yes, it is. It's happened so far. So this is what that we're playing on. We'll have to wait and see. But it is what it is. And I want to play it for you folks. Although we don't have to play it now. Okay, we just have to forget about it. So now, but here's what Dr. Anthony Fauci just said. Even though you have this whole stuff going on, it's what it is. So now this is what's happening here for us now. Now we all know that Jesse Jackson had excuse me. We all know that Jesse Jackson has been tested positive for COVID-19. And hope and pray that thoughts and prayers go out to Jesse Jackson and his family Now, here's what we might know. And here's what we might know. Now, the Reverend Jackson said Tuesday that he's feeling fairly well and receiving in great care at Chicago Hospital after a breakthrough COVID-19 infection. He spoke briefly by phone with an Associated Press for the Northwestern Maryland Hospital, where he and his wife, Jacqueline, have been hospitalized in separate rooms since the weekend when they tested positive for the virus. I'm doing fairly well, the civil rights leader said. The 79-year-old who has Parkinson's disease has been fully vaccinated. He received his first dose at a public event in January, where he encouraged others to do the same. But his 77-year-old wife, Jacqueline, also has civil rights accident, had not been vaccinated, so she had been receiving some oxygen but is breathing on her own and was respiratory, according to family members. Jesse Jackson said his wife didn't get vaccinated because she has a pre-existing condition that we're worried about. He did not involuntarily. General public health experts strongly encourage people with exhausting health conditions such as cancer or diabetes to get vaccinated, as they are at increased risk for severe illness. Family members have said that Jacksons were admitted to the hospital in part because of their age at that point, both have been response positive to treatment. They have been married nearly 60 years. The health status of both my parents is unchanged. One of their sons, Jonathan Jackson, said And a Tuesday statement. They continue to rest comfortably and to receive treatment. Jackson, who was hospitalized early this year for gangrene surgery, has remained at Taylor and continuing travel and evacuated for voting rights and other cases. Now, I believe that Jesse Jackson will get through this, and they're gonna get through this right about now. When they get out of the hospital, they're gonna get bail. He and his wife Jacqueline will get through this, and they are going to get bail when they get out of the hospital. I'm praying for them that they are okay. That's it for now. This is Justin Crudup, and we'll see you tomorrow.